hey, hey. I don't know why I'm singing. I'm just waiting for my co-host to get on so that we can start this week's show. Hey, 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 hey. So, how's everyone doing in quarantine land? We know that it's rough, but we're hoping that this show will help everyone to get through the rough times and get out on the other side absolutely amazing. So, this week's show should be amazing and good like it always is. And here are my co-hosts now who are coming on. Hey ladies, they're going to request to join, and then we will hello singing girl until you guys join me. I was like over here. Don't you think you look amazing? Hey, 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 oh, hey, oh. We are still in quarantine.
Still in quarantine.
We're still here, girl.
We're still smiling. We're still keeping the faith. We're still, we're all conquerors here.
Yeah.
We're all
got to.
All right.
We've got to. How you guys? You guys look amazing. Thanks.
What's this talking though?
I was singing for the people until you guys came on. I was over here singing. Nobody else was on but me, girl, but I was over here singing to myself.
That's all right.
That's okay.
I'll send out another message to let people know that the word is out. Hold on.
Right?
Okay.
The show must go on.
The show must go on.
The show must go on. And that's the thing about it. We're not going to let this get us down. We are going to make the show go on. We're going to harness everything we have in us and keep going.
That's it.
That's it.
We're going to keep going, keep pushing, keep going all the way. Nothing is stopping us now.
Because we got to do what? Tell me we got to
level up. Oh, yeah. Sorry, level up. I'm like, rule of the world. Level up. 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 Level up.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So no one's on with us yet, but we know what we're going to be talking about this week, which will be an amazing topic because so many people are experiencing what we're going to be talking about. So we need to talk about harnessing the power of bro.
BROKE.
It's so interesting, too, how there's power in something that's so negative.
Well, you know what?
Right? Which is just like, it's such an oxymoron.
Any negative can be turned into a positive.
Exactly. But it's funny because people think that once they're broke, that's it. Their life is over. They're never going to recover. They just feel like, okay, this is it. I'm dead. It's like, no, actually, God is giving you a way out. This is a door that you need to go through.
But look at our first show and how we got started when we talked about the power of failure and failing forward and how important that failing forward was, because if it hadn't been for those letters and our failure, in a sense, we wouldn't even necessarily have this show, right?
So we wouldn't have.
So true.
And to be honest, that letter, is literally the genesis of this show. It's the genesis of why we are doing what we're doing now as far as business and as far as, taking things into our own hands. None of that would have happened.
Not one
if those letters weren't written last year of January 1st or whatever it was.
Right? And so now we're in a situation where you really are going to have to tap into everything that you have to get to the other side of this coronavirus pandemic, isolation, quarantine, whatever people want to call it. We're going to have to do so much to get to the other side. And you're going to have to tap into the power of growth because it's such a mindset.
It is.
Right?
Definitely.
Because you might not be literally broke, but figuratively, are we all going to get to the other side the way we came into this?
Well, that's
we don't know.
Exactly. It's because the thing is right now what we're dealing with is something that not even our parents have gone through this.
No one has ever gone through this before. This is brand spanking new.
And all those years, remember when baby boomers would always say to us, save your money. And I'm imitating my parents right now. Save your money. Like, and you thought, my parents are crazy. And then, of course, as I got through the ages, as I got 25, 27, I was like, yeah, I should be saving my money. What am I saving it for? I don't know. Whatever.
Who knew?
But
Who knew?
now we understand.
Now we understand
the meaning of that, right? Because life situations have come and
hopefully this puts some common sense into a lot of people to save your money. Like we were saying that I know the three of us know for a fact that when any money that anyone gets while they're waiting for this whole thing to be over, we all know there's going to be those group of people who will take that money that they're supposed to use to hang on to only buy food and water. They're going to take that money and they're going to go on Zara.com and they're going to buy a new wardrobe. And when all this is over, they're going to be the same ones saying, oh my God, I have no money. It's like, well, what'd you do with all that money? Oh, I know, I need a new wardrobe. It's like, shoot.
Yeah, they're not spending.
To go where? Where are we going? Where are we going? Because, again, I haven't put on makeup since last Saturday or last show. Where am I going?
Exactly. It's like
first time
I put this all together before our show today, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is how I look in public.
Yeah, and then I struggled. I was like, how do I do this? And then it took me a couple of applications because I forgot to put on makeup because I had to.
I jerked myself in my eye trying to put my lashes on.
It's like your hands are no longer
your hands are like, where does this go? What's happening? Where does this go?
It was such a foreign situation for me. No. I was like, what is happening? How am I jerking myself in my eye, putting on lashes that I'm accustomed to putting on? But again, it's all about adapting. So I'm so excited that we're talking about the power of broke. And really, when we were planning it, we really said, how hungry are you? Like, that's gonna be the driving force between the people who get to the other side of this better and stronger.
Definitely.
Right? It's that hunger that you have, again, literally or figuratively, to get through the other side of this. And I think that's the part that people have to decide. How do I want to get out of this situation?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is fight or flight sort of situation where you're like, okay, in this situation, not much I can do about it. I can't jump on a plane and fly to Jamaica. I can't fly to St. Lucia. I can't, I can't go to my motherland. I can't see grandma.
You can't go to the corner store, girl.
I can't. If you're leaving your backyard, people are judging you, right?
They're like, where are you going?
Exactly. So we're in a situation where it's like, you've got the four walls around you.
Yep.
Some internet, if you're blessed. And, and you've got to make do with those materials, those resources. So how hungry are you?
This will be a real separation. When all this is over, everyone's going to see who actually was hungry for it and who was just happy being in the same bubble they've been in before this whole thing happened.
And I love that because it's true. A lot of people were in a bubble and you don't realize how insulated sometimes you are, and how we talked about this on episode 1 about complacency, right?
Yes.
And being in that place of complacency because it's a very comfortable place to be in. And a lot of people are having difficulty adjusting to this new normal because they've been so complacent.
Yes.
That's
complacency. I mean, again, being stuck in that comfort zone never helped anyone. And now with this new reality that we have, we're now realizing, for instance, a lot of people had no idea how much money they were spending on makeup or spending on,
even a cup of Tim Hortons coffee every day.
Toilet paper actually cost. And, they never understood the cost of things because we didn't really have to. But now when we're in a point of scarcity or whatever, probably pronouncing that word wrong right now.
You are right. It's scarcity.
Scarcity. Thank you. We are now, saying to ourselves, how do we ration? How do we keep food in the house versus, eating just everything and anything, eating 8 times a day? It's like, can't do that. So now we're learning what broke probably means and what it means to, per se, be hungry and making the best out of the resources you have. I know that when we were talking about this topic, we brought up the fact that, you'll walk into a room and say to someone, oh, I'm hungry. And the person says, okay, well, I'm making some eggs, or I'm making some toast and I have some jam. And you're like, oh, I don't feel like that. Then are you truly hungry?
No. You're not really hungry.
No, you're not.
I say that to Tran all the time. I say that to her all the time. She'll be like, Mommy, but I'm hungry. I'm like, well, I have this, and this, but I don't want that. Then you're not hungry.
You're not hungry.
You're not really hungry, because hungry people don't refuse food.
No.
Okay?
No matter what it is, they will eat it.
So this is really, this moment is the test of how hungry we are as entrepreneurs, how hungry we are as people,
just as leaders too.
That's it.
Because leaders,
discipline and taking charge,
becoming that leader persona. Because there's a saying where it's like, those that are the most flexible with their behaviors, they're the ones that always win. Meaning whatever situation you're put in, you can adapt to it and you can still find the resources to still be that leader, to still be that entrepreneur, to be whatever, you're wanting to be, whatever your outcome desire is. You can be that person as long as you are flexible to manipulate or maneuver your behavior to be successful.
Right.
Because you have to adapt. You have to adapt. It's very simple.
You have to. And the thing is, the first thing about change, that's one of the hardest things for humans to do is to change. And we're in a point now where it's like, okay, we're in a change right now, a huge change.
Yeah, we are.
Of not just getting up and going to the mall when we want. Not just going out and taking a jog in the park when we want. We don't have these options right now. No. So how are we going to adapt to this new situation we are in? And as far as, say, business owners, how are we going to adapt so we can continue to strive? And if for those that are hungry, how are we going to get through this?
Amen. So, hey, Craig, my cousin Craig's on the line. Hey, thanks for watching. So for those of you who are watching, if there becomes a point where we're talking about stuff and you'd like to join us, there's a request to join, and you can happily come in the conversation. So to reiterate, today we're talking about the power of broke. It was basically based on the book that Damon John had written. And I've got a quote that I think is important to talk about, which is, he says, the power of broke is a mindset. It's the half-court shot you throw up with time running out and the game on the line. Right? You don't have a time to think. If this is game 7 and you're about to, it's win or lose. You've got 0.5 seconds on the clock. You're down by 2. You've got the ball in your hands. You're behind the 3-point line. You're gonna shoot the shot.
That 3-pointer, baby.
You're gonna shoot the shot, or you
that ball. That's it.
So do you want to win or lose, right? And so this is a question that when we're talking about it and we're saying how hungry are you, that is literally where we need to be. We need to be in a mindset that I am hungry and I need to get out of this situation better than I came in. And what are the things that I can do to adapt to the situation I'm in? So when this is over, because quite frankly, none of us know when this is going to be over.
We don't.
But it ain't this month.
No.
And it's probably not
going to be next month.
It's not going to be.
Because I was hearing May.
It's not going to be June.
This morning I heard May, maybe June. Like, this is literally what the experts are saying.
I feel like my unbiased opinion.
I say June. I say August. Personally, guys.
Like, June will be the time maybe when things will start to improve, and then
only because the weather's going to get a little warmer.
and then August, people will probably be like,
back to normal life.
Okay, we're starting, but
it's going to be a while.
I'm not a scientist, so.
Yeah, I'm not planning. And so, you know, what are we gonna do, right? Like, you need to be like, right now, a lot of us are in deficit. When we take a look, my cousin said, I think this pandemic is going to destroy the middle class.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
it just might.
It just might.
Yep.
Because the middle class,
but here's the thing,
is what
we're the balance.
Yeah,
we're the ones that keep things
we
even
shop,
playing field.
We pay taxes.
That's it. And with us not spending and doing anything and going broke because of what's going on.
Yeah, and we supply money to the rich and we supply money to the extremely poor on those on the poverty line.
So it's a tough.
So when we're out, literally everybody's
out. We're the.
Here's the thing about it, though. Again, I agree with that because we're all in that situation. We're working that middle class area, right? Like when you look at where we are in terms of the scale, I think we'd all say that we're middle to upper middle class.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and like we talked about it, is you have to make a decision how you want to get out of this situation and what you're going to do to adapt. Because I know, Garcia, when we were talking, you were saying how your mother and father were talking about your grandmother and how she had to tap into what she had back in the day, before internet, before any of this, to be able to make a way.
Exactly.
Too true.
Yeah, so my parents are Jamaican, born and raised in Montego Bay, Jamaica, and basically this was a time when, there was no Instagram. So you weren't going on Instagram and showing nothing to market to anyone. You weren't doing any of that. And my mother's mother, my grandmother, she had a great talent in making hats, weaving hats. And she put food on the table.
That was her way of living.
A home. She sent, children to school. She fed them, she clothed them based on that skill that she had to create, to make hats.
Yes.
And obviously the love of hats has flown in
the family.
You don't ever see me with that one on. But she used that skill to create a home for her family, because that was how you did it back then. You looked at, okay, what can I do? Are you good at farming? Do you have a natural green thumb in Jamaica? That's what you did.
You did.
If you were really good with herbs and knew what herbs could cure what ails you had or ills, then that's what you did.
Herbalist.
You were a herbalist, bush doctor, whatever you want to call it. But the whole point was that people were reliant on themselves. They were not looking out and going on Instagram and going on the internet trying to find somebody to tell them how do I do this.
They had to fend for themselves.
Yeah. And
so and sorry to cut you, but it goes to a question that we were talking about, is what's your personal best? What do you have in you that can make you get to the other side of this? Because quite frankly, we've all had to adjust.
Yeah.
Every single one of us.
Absolutely.
And I know my cousin online, he's an entrepreneur. He's got his own business. He can't go outside and fix, cousin, correct me if you're wrong, furnaces and stuff, like HVAC and all that stuff. He can't go out and be doing that right now. We can't be going out necessarily doing what we're supposed to be doing. So how have we adapted? There has to be you have to adapt to our new normal. The reality is, things after this actually won't be the same. That's the reality.
No. This is the 9/11 of this era.
This decade.
Like, you see how 9/11 changed everything?
Yeah.
Remember when we could just drive to New York with our
no problem.
birth certificate?
Now you have to
just
get a passport.
Now you need your passport to just
this is gonna change,
to Buffalo.
Yeah, this is going to change life as we know it.
Right now, like I was saying to friends last night on a Zoom call, shout out to Zoom, who's
Zoom.
Love Zoom. Zoom is saving me. I used it before. Using a lot now.
I need to buy shares in that.
Yes.
Man.
So now, we were saying, because a lot of us love to travel, we're all like little travel bugs, like to, travel. And I was like, guys, I hate to admit this, but I don't think we're going to be able to travel for because even after this is done, the government's still going to be like, well, we love the peace that we're having in our regions right now. we don't want anyone flying to Paris right now. We don't want anyone flying to Ibiza and Bali right now, because right now we are all healthy and we want to see how long we can keep this up. It could actually be years.
Before things go back to normal. My cousin's saying that he's really busy. Good for him. Good for you. Make that money, cousin.
That's great,
but see, and that's the
good.
Thing. That's the thing. Some businesses, and we're going to get to this because you have to make some changes to your business to survive, right? Like, speaking as, you know, like a coach, and I've been talking with other coaches as well, and they're like, it's all about online now. Like, this is how we're connecting with clients. It's through the virtual not Instagram Live, but doing Facebook conversations, Zoom conversations. That is how business is continuing to roll. The times of meeting people in their boardrooms or in their offices, or them coming to your office, are
no longer
true, and that might be the way it continues to be for who knows.
Oh boy.
And it's not, and we're going to go back to this idea of complacency. Now is not the time for complacency. Now is not the time to say, okay, well, I'm just going to chill because...
No, you need to be open right now.
You got to change. You have to go with the times now. Otherwise, you'll be left behind and more broke than you've ever been in your life.
No, real talk. You're going to have to make some tough decisions about how it is. If you weren't accustomed to doing something before, you better learn to do it now.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. And that's the reality. You know, I was writing my book, and I was going to wait till my book is finished. No, I'm actually putting out my book next week. Because I'm going to turn my book into a mini-series. Because the girls got to make some residual income.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm turning what would have been a long book into shorter little books. Because I'm like, it's better for me to just put it out. Here's an opportunity. No better time than the present. The world, I literally have the world's attention. People want to read. They want to do whatever. I cross my fingers and I hope it works. But for me, it was, I had to adapt to now. I can sit and wait another 1 or 2 months to finish this book, or I take what I already have and package it in a way that will actually work. My ebooks that I'm putting out, yes, I'm doing them for free, but I also know that the reason I'm putting it out there is to put my name out there so that at the end of it, when this all comes back, people are like, oh my God, yes, those ebooks and the things that you were doing. Like, for me, it's about being busy and adapting and changing, and realize that, again, I am figuratively hungry right now. And so I get up every day with that hunger inside me of like, okay, I'm going to do this today. Here's the goals that I have to meet. Here's my to-do list. It's over there, but I still do a to-do list every day. I continue my day as normal.
Every day.
Yep.
Have to. We're back into that mode again of what our grandparents used to do. Whatever you're good at, just do it. There's no time for a diploma. There's no time to sit and be like, well, let me wait for 4 years.
You actually do have time.
Just do it. And then that's time you do have time.
Right now, as I'm going through my certification, I'm already out here saying, look, like,
you're selling it.
Yes. And
you're doing it.
I'm trying to build a program that will finally go live, be able to in May or June. But because I am hungry.
Because you're hungry.
And, you know, God bless our government who is trying what they can do to help us. But while we're, doing that, while we're waiting for April 6th or whatever that date is, and while we wonder what happens after 4 months, while this is all going on, what are we doing to make sure that month 5, we're like, it's okay that they are no longer giving us this relief money, because I figured out how I'm going to at least cover my bills.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that, now I can go out and go shopping everywhere, but I can pay my phone bill. I can pay
your mortgage.
I can pay the mortgage. I can, those are the things that we want to be able to do. Survive.
You gotta survive after this.
Survive.
Because this is only
as you say that, there's 2 quotes from the book from Damon John that I want to read that I thought was really important as we're talking about money. One of the quotes, he says, it's not the money behind you that counts, it's the money in front of you. So a lot of the times we think, well, I've got this money to start this business, blah, blah, blah. None of that matters because that money, you can run through that money very quickly. What's the money in front of you? What's the money in front of you that you see? What's that goal in front of you? How hungry are you to get to what's in front of you?
So
you gotta get it. Right? The money, like, everyone, there's a lot of people who they said, you know, you gotta have your 6 months, and if you have 6 months of living expenses, that 6 months right now, it doesn't even matter if you're not going out. If you have no job, if you don't necessarily know what tomorrow holds, and next month, and the month after that, come on, you've got to make sure that you're going up and seeing what's in front of you and how you get it.
And just because we're in a crisis, it doesn't mean that now you got to go dig out your savings. What your goal should be is, how do I go about without having to touch that 6 months?
That's the goal. To not have to touch that money.
You don't want to touch that. You want to see what you can do
from your own hands. To not have to go and touch that.
Exactly.
I don't get why people are like, yeah, it kind of bugs me because as this progresses, more and more people are like, oh my God, I'm so bored, I'm so this, I'm so that. It's like, stop whining.
There are things.
Get up and do something.
You've got to.
There's so much to do.
You've got to get You've got to start to internalize.
They have to.
What you're saying, and remember when you say these things, because I'm pretty sure that Mr. God, what's his last name? I always forget it. The writer of our book today that we read.
Damon John.
Yeah. I am sure that his mindset is set.
Oh.
People with the level of success that he's had, their mindset does not read like the average person. There's a reason why there's 1%. There's a reason why the number is 1%.
1% for
there's a reason why
75%
75% of the world is in poverty.
Yep.
Like, there's a certain mindset that goes along with why some people excel in ways that others don't excel. And it's because their mindset is internalized. And if you internalize, I am hungry. If you internalize the mindset that I am limitless and I can do the things that I need to do.
Yes, we can.
I can do this. I can. If you internalize that, you will see that in the world.
And the time is now.
The time is now.
I have never been more productive. I put out 2 ebooks. I'm about to put out an actual book that I'm putting on Amazon and pray and hope it becomes an Amazon bestseller. I'm literally going to put out several of the books. Like, I get up every day, still like, okay, well, since I can't go nowhere, this is the thing that everyone
focus on what they have to do.
And you've got to show up. You've got to have the ability of showing up.
Absolutely.
Right now, we have a lot of people that are like, okay, I know I need to start something. I know I need to start doing something. But the thing is, they're not willing to show up. What do I mean by showing up? I mean being able to put on IG Live and talking. Being able to tell people, I do this. This is what I do, and I'm good at it. A lot of people still have a problem with that very foundation, that foundation of, I can do this and I'm going to do it. If you don't have that foundation first, you're not going to say what you have done to Shiva. You're not going to say, now I'm going to go make an ebook and put value out there. You're not going to do it unless you have the foundation of, I am going to do this because I am good at it.
And it makes me think, because I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to pull it up because I created my second ebook yesterday, and what I did, and some of it is very funny, but I really put together, 18 keys to success, and I hope you guys don't mind me kind of hijacking the show a bit to talk about the ebook, and I'll read my 18 keys that I wrote to success, and if you're watching this, you can go on my Billings Consult page. You can go on my Shiva Monique page. You can also go on my website, Billings Consult, go to the Let's Talk and download the ebook. But, I wanted, because here's the thing. I'm very big on the idea that if you are an entrepreneur or a wantrepreneur, because you want to be an entrepreneur, whatever it is, there are certain things that you have to be able to do. And even though I put them some ways in a funny way, and some of them these are the keys that I thought for success. So, you know, my ebook starts out with a quote from Oprah. And she says, every season somebody else was coming out. 1 talk show, 2 talk shows, 3 talk shows. There have been over 100 talk shows since we started. But every time I would feel like, all right, gotta step up your game. The way you step up your game is not to worry about the other guy.
True.
Right? You can't worry about what the other person is doing. You have to decide that this is what I'm going to do. And so then I came up with, you know, throughout, you know, reading and my own life and, you know, experiences, I came up with what I thought were 18 keys to be successful. So, number 1, make use of now. Tomorrow may never come.
People in the back.
Right? Girl. Tomorrow may never come. Don't wait for tomorrow when you still have today.
Too true.
Right? Like, right now is what you have.
Alone is like that alone is it.
My whole book.
Here we go. So it's interesting because we're sitting here.
That alone is like
a fitness advocate, a life coach, and a business consultant in a conversation. So of course we're going to say it needs to. Now is the time. How are you going to hold yourself accountable? One of the questions I always ask people that are like, oh gosh, I need help goal setting. I'm like, okay, so what are you going to do after my conversation? How are you going to implement what we talk about after we're done here? And I always stop and do this. And people always look and they say, how am I going to? I'm like, yes, how are you going to implement? What are we going to do Monday? Today is Sunday. What are we going to do Monday? What's the first thing? Number 1. I have your accountability sheet here. What's the number 1 thing you're going to do? What are you going to do when you wake up in the morning? What's the first thing you're going to do? And the problem is that people don't understand that essence of today, right now. Your change begins the moment you leave this chair.
That's it.
The moment we're done this live, that's the time. Not, okay, so tomorrow I'm going to start. I'm like, no.
Tomorrow's already too late.
So how? How means after you're done here, you're going to write down in your journal, the first thing I'm going to do is when I get home, I'm going to set this up. I'm going to write these things out so I can do this first thing in the morning. But it's those little steps. And the problem is we're always looking at the outcome. We're always looking at the results.
Yeah,
we're not working
that's it. Not looking towards that goal.
We're saying, okay, I want to be the next Kylie Jenner and I want to have a makeup line.
Okay, what are you doing to get there?
That's an awesome outcome. So what's the first thing you're going to do
to get there? What are your steps?
Let's start right now. What are you going to do? What are your services? What makeup are you actually planning on offering? Because not even Kylie Jenner started with a full thing of makeup. She started with like a lip kit.
Just a lip kit.
So and then she went in the world and she started with one
thing. So she tested it out to see, well, people even gonna like this.
Right.
So let me throw it out
and
there
then,
in the world.
Like Oprah said, okay, how are you going to be different? How are you going to be unique? What is going to make? I don't want to buy Kylie Jenner. So how are you going to get me as a consumer to buy your makeup? Like these are questions that only usually a third party can ask someone. Very seldom do people ask themselves that question. And that's the thing. Like it's now. Now is the time to do it.
Yeah.
And the first step in saying we're going to do it now is saying, okay, how are we going to start doing this? What is the first step? And it's funny because it's such a simple thing to do. I mean, now could mean go online right now and buy your domain.
Yeah.
GoDaddy.
That is the step because you've done. Like, we have our domain for Not Your Typical Girl Talk, and we have nothing to put on it. Doesn't matter. I remember we got the name. I bought the URL the same night.
We got all of these names as long as it fit in the character, the character count. We got it.
And signed, sealed, delivered.
You've got to act now. So number 2 that I wrote was surround yourself with rare people, those who force you to think about life and yourself differently.
Yes.
Right? Because a lot of the times, here's the thing. Damon talks about that in the book. And he talks, and there's another book that I read, because all I've been doing is reading and making notes and stuff, which is, good for me. But but you have to shift, and sometimes you have to leave people behind.
Girl.
Because the power of broke, like there's the power of broke, which is the mindset, and then there's broke. It's like, then there's just broke. If you want to remain just broke, you're going to end up being with the same people who are probably broke, who are keeping you broke, because ain't nobody doing nothing other than being broke.
That's
right.
Yeah. You know what's funny? That makes me think of something, and Telly and I had a conversation about this because Drake said something one day, and we were like, yes, that is so true. He said that, you know, as soon as you have $1 million, he's like, everything changes. You start hanging out with people that have $10 million.
They have more than you. It's like automatic.
And
you don't want to hang out with your scruff
right
anymore.
And that is actually a form of abundance.
Yeah.
You were making $10,000 a year, and then you start making $50K. At $50K, you start hanging out with people that are making close to $100K.
Yeah.
You know, you're leveling up. Your mindset is sort of shifting a bit.
That's it.
And you have to get to that point where you have to be flexible enough to say, okay, no offense, but, you know, hanging out with Bob, who is, you know, is cool with, you know, working, you know, his job. He's not looking to be the manager at his job. He's not looking to become the owner. He's not looking to be a CEO of something one day. Is this guy good for me? Is he going to push me and my muse to be my limitless self? Probably
not really.
No. But your friend who has been working hard to be, you know, to get to that 100K, or that person that's working towards it and saying, look, I'm working hard. I'm doing the things I need to do. Maybe those are the people that you should be
hanging out with.
Because, you know,
they'll push you. They'll help you to level up. Level up.
Yeah.
Level up.
I mean, zero times zero is zero. 0 plus 0 is zero. Zero take away 0 is zero. Like, 0 is 0. So, simple math, science.
Oh, wow.
Math is science, and it's telling us that, look, 0 plus 0 is 0.
It's still going to be 0.
So there.
Thank you.
You gotta, have some value for yourself. Like, why are you still hanging out with the riffraff? Like, come on, man.
But here's the thing. It goes back to mindset, which is why, you know, when we talk about growth mindset, when we talk about a poverty mindset, it is about your mindset. Your mindset has to change, and you have to adapt, because you have to go from a place of want to a place of abundance. Right? And often that means leaving some people behind. My girlfriend Kimba's on the line. Hey, Kimba, her and I talk about that all the time. I talk to her about it all the time. I said to her, as I move up, there are people I'm leaving behind. And that's unfortunate. But if I'm out there and I'm the person and I'm the friend who's saying to people, listen, guys, let's do this. Let's come together. Let's make sure you have goals. Let's make sure you have this. And some people don't want to listen. When I'm here and you're still down here, see you later. Like, it's not going to happen.
Bye.
It's not going to happen.
And I think
it's a shame, but it has to be done.
A lot of us, like, you know, I actually have met people where, you know, they're working hard at what they're doing as far as even being more healthy. You know, they want to be healthier. They've come down with a sickness, and they realize that if I change my health and if I change my routines, I will be better in life. And what I find is that they lose friends simply because they're not going to go out every weekend
and eat Burger King and drink
and they lose friends. I'm like, yeah, but what's more important?
Your friends?
Because aren't you meeting friends that are into
your health,
eating healthy and having things? Well, they're like, well, yeah. I'm like, okay, so
there you go.
That's just the way it goes. You've got to be with those people that are going to help you be better, whether it be for health, relationships, business, whatever you're doing. Some people aren't going to hang out for the ride. And that's okay.
And you just got to speed off and leave them.
That's okay.
And that's okay. You're gonna meet different people, right? You're gonna, and you have to surround yourself with the people where you want to be, not the people where you're at.
Exactly.
Right? Like, that's what you need to do. If you want to say that I want to get to that next step, if you want to go from that place of want and need to a place of abundance, unfortunately, some of these people aren't going to go with you. But it leads me to number 3 on my keys to success is, on top of that, you still have to thank those around you. So I wrote, thank those around you that helped you succeed. You didn't get to where you are by yourself. So that's in addition to making sure you're hanging out with the right people, but also remember that, listen, none of us got to where we are alone. None of us.
Very true.
You have to have the mindset of gratitude as well.
Be thankful.
Gratitude and forgiveness is actually, without those things, you're actually never going to.
Oh, Emily!
Hi, Emily.
Hi, Emily! She's an amazing artist.
Amazing artist. I'd love her to do a portrait of me one day, but I want to do it in person.
In person, yeah.
Not Corona.
No. We don't need that. We don't need that.
That's right.
We need the Corona portrait.
The paint of the but yeah, I mean, you have to have that mindset where you can say, I am grateful that this person is in my life, because there's going to be those friends that see you on the up and up, and they're going to support you.
They are.
And for those friends that support you, they definitely deserve to be honored and thanked throughout your come up, throughout your career, whatever it is. Like, we talk about famous people all the time, like Oprah has her Gail, and Drake has
Drake has 40 and Chubbs.
Yeah, like you have these people that were there
from day one, and they're the day ones, and you know what?
And you should thank them.
They're not trying to hold you back.
Yeah.
They're like, you know what? I can't be where you're going, but I'm your friend, and I want to see you.
It's kind of like
go all the way.
When I know we've all seen Self-Made by now, and a lot of them, thanked and mentioned the people that were there when it's like, when I was, going to the flea markets and doing my thing, when I was just selling my stuff out of my car, this was the friend that was there, and now they're, the art director of my business or whatever it is. So, never forget where you came from.
Can't forget your roots.
Amen. Number 4 on my list, and I know I probably won't get through all 18, but this is a good one for right now. Number 4 on my list for, again, 18 keys to be a successful entrepreneur is, it will never be perfect because you aren't. Perfectionism is the death of innovation. So go out and be innovative. You can adjust it later, right?
That's it.
Going back to number 1. Now is the time. If you're not taking that and saying, well, it's not good enough, it's not good enough, it's not good enough. When are we ever gonna have a time like that?
And that's the little devil, the little demon I like to call comparison. Comparison makes us believe that what we're doing is not good enough. But don't compare yourself to other people, and remember the definition of, perfection and excellence are 2 different things.
True.
And we did have a chat about this, Toshiba, where basically excellence is you against yourself. Right? It is not against everyone else on Instagram. It is not against everyone else on Facebook, whatever it is. It is you and yourself. And your past self. That's the competition. And if you are beating your past self, that's your excellence. So this idea of, I'm not going to put up that video because the background wasn't perfectly white and I didn't have a palm tree in the background like so-and-so on Instagram. It's like, no. It doesn't matter. Your video could be filmed on an iPhone 4.
Yep.
There you go. With some grain happening. Maybe your shirt isn't the latest shirt being sold in stores, and maybe you don't have a Chanel in the background on the shelf. That's okay. No one is actually looking for the Chanel handbag in the background. People don't care. What they care about is what's coming out of here and what value you're adding to what you're saying.
Amen.
So, amen. And I mean, we always go back and look back. If you scroll back in anyone's Instagram, if you scroll back and as famous as they are, you go back to that first post, and it's that first post that allowed that person to eventually get to 10,000 people on Instagram. If you didn't start, then when was it going to happen?
Never.
Never.
They never started.
Okay.
Because they're waiting for perfection.
So sit there and wait for perfection.
Which one?
Waiting for perfection.
There's no such thing as perfect.
There isn't, which is why I'm going to repeat. Perfectionism is the death of innovation.
Yes, it is, girl.
It really is, because how are you going to, if you don't start, there's nowhere to go, right? There's absolutely nowhere to go.
It's so funny too. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that a lot of products, too, that you buy maybe from local people. Mm-hmm. One time we bought some rosehip oil from this woman, and she actually apologized for the labeling on the bottles, because she was like, oh, it's so plain, I'm so sorry. And then I was like, what's in the bottle?
What's in the bottle?
She's like, oh, it's a mix of rosehip with this oil, that oil, this essential
That's all
oil.
that matters?
I'm like, okay, awesome.
Like, the packaging is the least.
I'm like, the packaging is the least. I can give you feedback as to what I think should be happening with your your packaging, but I'm still gonna buy it because the product is still good.
But when people go to No Frills and they have their own products, do you see anything on the No Frills packaging? No, it just says No Frills, and it's a yellow box of like
still buying
dishwashing.
it though.
People are still creeping it up because it's what's inside that counts.
Absolutely. But again, this is the opportunity. I'm telling you, this is the time, everyone who's listening, this is the time to do what you need to do. This is the time to harness that skill that you have. If you are an English major, you can go on right now on Fiverr or wherever and say people, I will review your resume for you, because when people start hiring again, this is what I can do. If you, like an artist like Emily can take something and maybe create art for somebody's book cover or ebook. There's so much opportunity out there, and this is the time to do it. This is the time to be adaptable. This is the time to be creative. Like, whatever you were going to do 3 years from now, do it now. Because we don't know what 3 years from now is going to look like. We don't know what 6 months from now. I don't know what next week's going to look like at this point with the way this pandemic is going, right? Like, look at it. The U.S. has taken over China and Italy with the most amount. They've got 82,000, or actually I think it's over 100,000 now, cases of people with coronavirus, right? They had their president on TV saying it was a hoax only a few weeks ago, and look at where they are. New York had about 30,000 or whatever thousand people.
Open up everything like nothing happened.
You know, I always think this would have happened if they just impeached him. Maybe we all would have been saved if they just kicked him out of the White House. But we'll never know now because it's too late.
Right? Like, look at where we're at. We can't, no one knows where this pandemic is going. They don't know. Now, first they said it didn't live on surfaces. Now they're saying it might live on surfaces. First they said it live on clothes. Now they're saying it might live on clothes. Like, every day, every hour, there is so much that is unknown. So when we go back to number one, the time is now. Take advantage of now. And I'm going to read number 5. I'm cognizant of the time because I know Instagram doesn't want us to be great and they'll cut us off after an hour. So we've got like 12 minutes. But number 5, and we talked about this, and I think it was either show 2, 1, or 4, but we talked about, no, I think it was show number 1. When you fail forward.
Yeah.
There is power in failure. Failing is much better than living with regret.
It is. At least you tried.
And you can learn from that failure. I don't even actually say the word failure anymore. I say feedback.
Or a lesson, or a lesson. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn.
Yeah, it's a lesson.
It's a lesson. That's all it is.
When you don't see the results you wanted from something, now have data.
That's it.
And when you have data, guess what you can do with the data? You can analyze
Dissect it.
See what worked, see what didn't work, and just get rid of the stuff that didn't work.
And start again.
And do it again.
If the person don't succeed, dust yourself off and
try again.
That's what she said. R.I.P.
Right? You have to keep trying. I'm going to go to one that I think is actually really funny. Because, you know, with basketball no longer around, I had to write something around basketball.
Bad.
But listen, number 7 on
my game from 1985. We were watching a game from 19. That's how desperate we were for basketball. We're like, oh look, Car, it's a game. Now, mind you, it is from 1985, but it's something. So we watched it, and it was the worst thing ever. The shorts were so short. The like actual quality was so fuzzy. You could barely see anyone's face.
I'm over here like Dave Chappelle. Like, where can I get some of this basketball? Like, where can I get some of this basketball? But you know what? I have more time because at 2.5 hours I would have spent watching the game, or if there was back-to-back games, I now have. So I'm going to be thankful for the small miracles of no basketball because I got some of my time back. So, but for number 7, I loved this one. I loved it. I wrote it. But basically, I said, go big or go home. When given an opportunity, give it your all until you have no more to give. Be LeBron, not Bynum.
Yeah.
I'm saying. If you're a ball fan, you know that Andrew Bynum was a big disappointment. Okay. You don't want to be the disappointment. Girl. You want to know that you gave everything that you have, because that is when you are hungry, when you are in need, when you are going to give it everything you have, and when you think that you have no more, you find it and you give more. Right? Like, that is the idea. This is the mindset, and this is the now to have the mindset, because there are people right now who are literally hungry because the job they have, they no longer have. The stimulus package isn't going to show up to when, but you find a way.
Yes, the tech industry right now. Well, before this, the tech industry, everyone wanted to get into it, and I was a part of that, and a lot of my former colleagues and friends have messaged me this week and said, "Oh my God, Kirsty, I lost my job. They
can't recover from this."
And they said, "This is not, we're just laying you off because," and I was like, "Well, welcome to the club." And I was like, this is the time. I'm like, you're a good writer. You're a good content marketer. I'm like, get your website up, go to WordPress, start a one-pager, and start getting yourself out there, because there are lots of small brands that need people that know how to brand, and they'll hire you for like $200. So go do that.
Do it. We all have to make a decision. We have to. Honestly, this is why we keep asking the question, how hungry are you? And that's a question that people need to ask themselves. How hungry am I? And what am I willing to do so that when this is over, that I am better than when I got into this situation? I want to know that I've gotten out better. I want to know that I've learned, I've absorbed, I've connected with people. This is the thing where people are not realizing. I was talking to a friend who I've known for 20-something years. He's in the corporate events space. Guess what? No corporate events. But he had to adapt. We were talking about adapting, and I gave him some advice. He took it, he implemented it, and he was like, Sheba, the results of just the advice that you gave me was like that. He's like, I'm not accustomed to doing this, but I had to pivot, and he had to adapt. Guys, we have to adapt to what is happening. And you have to decide, do I want to remain complacent and be in this space? Or do I want to go after what I want? Because all we have right now is now. There are people who have died from this virus who had plans for tomorrow.
Girl.
And they'll never
get plans for next week.
They never got it.
Plans for next year. And if you think about, this is not an old people disease. There are young kids who are dying from this.
Kids are dying from it.
Everyone had plans.
Even if you're young and you get this and you live through it, I've had pneumonia twice.
Same.
And let me tell you, pneumonia ain't easy.
It's horrible.
I almost died twice. And I was a kid, and then a young adult.
Yeah, I had it twice, and it was not pretty.
Yeah, like, you do not want...
You don't want to mess with pneumonia.
You don't want to mess with pneumonia. Pneumonia without the stereoization of COVID already kills thousands of people a year.
Much more this super duper version of it that's flying out of the place.
So,
girl,
it's so important. And again, we're gonna, we were talking about it, and this is the last thing we're gonna say before we do our takeaways. But Garcia said something that was so important. We've become spoiled and programmed into things being a certain way.
Yeah.
And because there's a certain way, that's how it's going to be. But what this virus is showing us, everyone has had to adapt. It didn't matter if you were rich, poor, middle class, black, white, Asian, Indian. This is a virus that has no borders.
No borders.
Doesn't care about your ethnicity, and it doesn't care about your class.
No.
It is in places. You've got now the Prime Minister of Britain who has it. You've got Prince Charles. You've got my man Idris. God love him. It is everywhere.
Andrew, I think, has it.
Prince Andrew got it, I think, and then they got it from the Prince of Morocco.
Yeah, and the Prince of Morocco. So a whole bunch of overtly privileged people.
They got it.
Our own First Lady in Canada, you know, like
got it.
She got it.
They've all been affected. And yeah, some amazing, you know, actors that, you know, we know.
Tom Hanks had it. His wife had it.
Have it. And
a lot of basketball players have it.
Thank you. No border, no class.
It is not racist. It is not prejudice. It loves everybody.
It loves everybody.
It loves
virus loves everybody.
Right in here and just growing slowly.
As long as you have them, they want to find you.
It's going to find you.
So you have to decide, again, we're going to repeat it again.
Yes.
How hungry are you to get out of this situation better than when you came in? And we recognize that it's hard. And we recognize that it's not simple. Hi, Andy. I don't know you by hand.
He's an amazing fashion designer. Such an amazing guy.
And also one of the best personas.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Love it. We're going to make sure we're following Andy. But no, like, it's so amazing. So, you know, we're cognizant of the time because we don't, again, Instagram doesn't like us to be great. So we're going to go and say, ladies, what are your takeaways, starting with Garcia?
Okay. So I'm going to make it super short. My takeaway is that, you know, I'm going to continue pushing, continue working on my business and making sure that it is a business that can survive virtually and in person when it can. It's going to be flexible and just move with the times because we live in uncertain times, regardless of what's happening. We live in uncertain times. So I'm going to do my best to make sure that my business is flexible.
Yes, what I have learned is that there's no such thing as perfect, and the time is now. Do not wait for perfection, because there's no such thing. Whatever plans you have, just start propelling them now, because tomorrow is not promised to us. So just do it now. Now is the time. The time is now. That's what I've seen.
Love it.
Yes.
My takeaway is we need to know how to adapt to our new normal, and that was the name of last week's show, but I'm going to repeat it again. Again, the time is now, and how are you going to how are you going to adapt to what we're dealing with now? Again, remember, everyone that has died from this disease had plans for tomorrow.
They did.
Like, you really have to think about everyone who's died had plans for tomorrow. They will not see tomorrow because, again, a virus that has no borders, no class, no race, they don't care anything about it, came and seeped into their world, into their life, and change it. So now, how are you going to adapt so you can deal with your new normal and be able to get to the other side of this? And another thing about what I think is amazing, humanity and compassion is great during this time. This is the time to really come together as human beings. I want to say I'm tired of the conspiracy theorists. I'm going to tell you, I'm tired of the people who keep saying this is just the flu and people will get over it. And this is the government's way of doing this and doing that. At the end of the day, yes, this could be a way to deal with the population because apparently only old people think people need to die. But let me tell you, if the government wanted to do something, they just need a virus to do it. They don't need a virus to do it, and they don't need a virus that's actually attacking them, right? Because again, it's attacking rich people.
Them.
Like, it's not only attacking the poor and the weak and the stupid. Okay, but it's attacking everybody.
But now it's all over the place. So
everywhere. And this is a time to show human compassion and to care about people and to really come together as a community. And I'm happy that I've been seeing a lot of that, of people coming together. But again, the time is now. Let's act now.
W now.
And that's it.
Oh, this was great, girls.
Because we're adapting to our new normal. Who would thought a few weeks ago we'd be doing the show separate? But we're together apart.
We are
together apart.
We are together.
We are still a driving force. We are still going forward and working through this. This is our normal for now. And we're going to come
exactly.
Yes. You know? We got this.
We're going to kill it.
We got it.
So,
we're going to dance it out. Woo! Just take a photo. Which I know is so
let's take a photo before Instagram doesn't make us great. anymore. And we've got,
here we go, girl.
27 seconds remaining. Love it. Send that to me, girl. Thank you, everyone who tuned in. Amazing. Say again.